yes, we are going to have a standing start, folks. So very, very interesting. They've come back around. They've done essentially a formation lap, and now we're about to have a standing start, and with Lewis Hamilton in the what would be the pole position, and Max Verstappen in the second position. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here now with this standing start. So of course we're 2 cars shy, because 2 cars are now out, so 18 cars, and they are going to go, and they are off, and they're off to a very good start. And Lewis Hamilton, look what happened to Max Verstappen. Let's see how he does. He did not get a good start at all. He almost got outdone by Alonso, but he is maintaining second position with Lewis Hamilton in first. And I don't think that Max Verstappen's too concerned right now. He is just off, but we've got somebody off, completely off the track right now. That is a AlphaTauri car. I can't see who the driver is, but everything's kind of settled down a little bit. We don't have any yellow flags or cautions. So. An excellent start again by Lewis Hamilton, and I don't know what's up with Max Verstappen. There was not a very good restart by him. He almost lost second position to Fernando Alonso, but he managed to hold on, and he is on the tail of Lewis Hamilton, just a little, about 0.8 of 1 second behind. So as soon as they have DRS, that Red Bull car should put him back into first position. And let's see where the running order is now. So we've got Hamilton, Verstappen, Alonso, Gasly all the way up into fourth. George Russell managed to pick up a couple of positions. He's ahead of Lance Stroll and Hülkenberg. At the bottom end, we've got Bottas, Devios, Perez. Perez lost 2 positions. So we're getting a replay of the start here, and it just did not look like, it's not looking like Max Verstappen. His car just didn't have, either he himself was slow, or his car just didn't have the grip that he wanted or something, but he almost got passed by Fernando Alonso. Very, very interesting goings on right now. So anyway, we're off, we're running. Let's see where we go. We've got a lot going on in the backfield, and I've just seen the AlphaTauri go off the track on the replay. But we're all back. We're good. Everything is going well. Whoa! Somebody just went right over the left front wheel of Esteban Ocon. I have no idea who that was. So Max Verstappen now has closed the gap to the Lewis Hamilton Mercedes, and like I said, when he gets DRS, then it will be over. He's less than he's about 2 car lengths behind. So on the straightaway with DRS, he'll get an extra 14-15 miles an hour, and as they say, the fat lady will no longer sing. And Max Verstappen is just now past Lewis Hamilton at the first opportunity, and he will go on into the sunset, because that car has a lot more than the Mercedes car. In fact, in less than, as we've said, it's just been 20 seconds, and in less than 20 seconds, he has now opened up a 1 second lead on Lewis Hamilton. It's just amazing. Just amazing that car has so much more speed and control than the Mercedes do.
Yeah, definitely. He's actually got a little bit of cars behind.
They're not even a lap. Get this, folks. They're not even a lap. It's been less than a lap since Max Verstappen passed Lewis Hamilton. He is already 2 seconds ahead. 2 seconds ahead. That's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I guess I should turn the volume down in the background so it'll help you guys hear me. But it, it gets so exciting that I forget to turn down the volume. So let's look at where we are in the standings. We're 13 laps into a 58-lap race. We've got Verstappen, Hamilton, and Alonso, Gasly, and Russell. Those are your top 5, and the bottom 5 are running because we've got Albon and Leclerc out. But you've got Bottas, De Vries, Perez, Sargent, and Magnussen running out your bottom 5. So in the middle, you've got your Ferraris. What's really nice to see is the McLarens are up in the they've just dropped. They've just dropped to 10th and 11th, but that's interesting. They got taken down by Niki Tsunoda in the Alpine. That's really strange. Sergio Perez is moving back up the field. He's just gone past Logan Sargent, so I think he's now probably up to. Let's see where he is. Sergio Perez is up to. He's up to 15th. So he lost a couple of places on that restart for whatever reason, but now he's got them back. So he's about a second behind Magnussen. So it shouldn't be too long before we see him moving up. We should not be surprised to see Perez make the podium. As good as those Red Bull cars are, we should not be surprised to see him make podium. But right now, the Aston Martin cars are again showing that they're a contender, folks. The Aston Martins are contenders. We're only three races in, and it's not just one of the drivers that's up there. We've got Alonso up in 3rd position, and then we have Lance Stroll in 6th. So there's no reason why Stroll won't get by Russell. Won't get by Gasly. He may have a tough time getting by Russell, but I don't know. That those Aston Martin cars just seem to have it over the rest of the field. And if you want to know how Max Verstappen's doing, he's nearly 4 seconds ahead. So what did we do the restart at? So about 3 laps ago. So within 3 laps, he's opened up a 4-second lead. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. It actually is kind of disappointing in a way because you want to see some contenders. We don't want to watch cars go around and around and around in circles. We want to see people challenging for the lead. We want to challenging for 2nd, challenging for 3rd. And we are going to see a challenge for 2nd coming up in a few laps because Alonso is gaining on Lewis Hamilton. We're also going to see a challenge for, we're going to see a challenge from Aston Martin to Carlos Sainz within a lap because he is less than half a second behind. So he will have DRS. And so we should see Aston Martin move up into the 6th position. And we've just seen a replay here of, I can't see who the car was, but they touched wheels with it was Niki Tsunoda, in fact, just touched wheels with Piastri, so that and while he was overtaking him, so he may have to give that position back when they cause distress to another driver, or they go off the track and use the track position to gain position, then they will get a 5-second penalty, or they will be instructed to give that position back again. And Sergio Perez, just looking at a little update here for you. Sergio Perez has now moved from 15th to 13th. He is half a second he is 2 seconds behind Esteban Ocon, so that could be his race, that could be 3 or 4 laps before he is able to make up that difference. But I would not be surprised to see Sergio Perez come from starting dead last and making it to the podium. And no surprise, Max Verstappen now has the fastest lap. His day did not start off so well, but it's going remarkably well for him right now. We probably won't be talking about Max Verstappen very much for the rest of this race, because I don't think there's going to be a lot to talk about other than how many seconds he's ahead. And let's see if they'll give me right now I don't have that information coming up in front of me, but I'm going to guess it's about a 5 second lead that he has on, well, I'm wrong. It's only 4 seconds. He's got a 4 second lead on Hamilton, but Alonso now is within DRS range of Hamilton. So I think we're going to find Hamilton back in third position here pretty quickly. George Russell, where is George Russell? Where is he? What happened? George Russell is all the way back. Let's see, I can't find him. Stroll, Hulkenberg, Perez, Magnussen. George Russell's all the way. Oh, we've got a virtual safety car. George Russell's car is on fire. That's why I couldn't find him, was because all of a sudden he's dropping all the way down the chart. His car is on fire. So George Russell is out of this race. So he went from leading the race for the first 2 or 3 laps to not being in the race on lap 18. So don't know what happened to his car. Let me see if I can turn the sound up. Not too much to bother you folks, but let's see if I can figure out what happened here.
He's losing power.
He's losing power. He's slowing down. I'm watching the replay now. Slowing down. All kinds of cars are passing him. That's why I could. Now we see smoke coming out of the exhaust. My guess is he dropped a valve. That would be typical when you drop a valve. The piston goes up, and it gets punctured, and then the oil comes up from the bottom of the engine and starts burning. And now we see flames coming out the back of his car. So I would say that he has had a. They call them power packs now, right? Because it's a combination of internal combustion engines and electric battery operated. But I would say that he dropped a valve or something like that, and he's out of the race due to a power pack, not an engine, a power pack malfunction. But I'm going to say this is a case of with the flames and what happens is once you drop a valve, the piston comes up and the valve punctures the top of the piston. That allows oil from the oil pan to come up. It's red hot up there, bursts into flames, and then you see it coming out of the exhaust. So we've got a virtual safety car, not a full safety car. So in a virtual safety car, all cars reduce their speed by 60%. By 40%, so they're doing 60% of the normal lap speed, and they can't change positions. They can't overtake. They can't do anything. Everybody just goes around and around and around the track. So that's a shame for George Russell. But we are now back to green flag racing because George Russell managed to get his car off of the track, and it wasn't a hindrance. And now we're looking at the tires. We've got everybody on hard tires except Logan Sargent and De Vries, who are on the medium. So that means for sure. Well, so we're actually going to have a two stop tire strategy here, because during the red flag, all of the teams changed their tires. So we were looking forward to a one-stop race, but essentially it's what as far as tires are concerned, it's a two-stop race. So we're at lap 20 of 58. So I would imagine probably at around lap 40 to 43, then we'll see all of the cars coming in and changing their tires again. So that little hiccup actually cost Max Verstappen a second. When I say hiccup, I'm talking about the virtual car. And Hamilton managed to gain a second back of the 4 seconds that he lost. So now we've lost Russell, Albon, and Leclerc from the race. This is kind of strange. We normally don't lose that many drivers, especially today. You very rarely see mechanical issues being the reason for the dropouts. It's more like Leclerc and Albon, where you get driver errors or driver errors then associated with car malfunctions. So what is it? Driver errors or car malfunctions? So some of it's car malfunctions and some of it's driver errors. Leclerc was driver errors. I'm going to say for Albon it was car malfunction because he absolutely had no control over that car. There's nothing he did, nothing he could change that would change the direction that car was going in.
Hamilton's just reduced that lead since the
So Sergio Perez now is up into 12th position. So like I say, he's going to march up through the field. So he's got Esteban Ocon ahead of him, and then he's got Piastri, the young Australian rookie, and then Nicky Tsunoda. So maybe another 8 to 10 laps, and we'll see Perez in the top 10. Right now, George Russell is dropping back a little bit. Max Verstappen. I don't think Max Verstappen cares whether he wins by 5 seconds, 2 seconds, or 50 seconds. He's in a position where he just knows, as long as his car doesn't blow up, he's going to win the race. And I don't know what's wrong with my TV feed. Oh, I've got it back again. Okay, it just suddenly goes away. Maybe that's the Australian broadcasting system. So anyway, I've got it back, so I can keep going. Let me turn the volume down here a little bit so it doesn't bug you guys. I know my great technical director, Andre Kuhn, who's also my producer. He does a great job of getting rid of all of my missteps and misspokes. But also, when I have things like the volume up too high and stuff like that, he's able to get all of that interference out for you folks listening, so it's not quite as obvious. So, big shout out to Andre Kuhn, right here in the middle of the race, folks. And we're watching Sergio Perez now. He is about to go past Nicky Tsunoda, and he just did that, took him on the inside. And so that should put him up now, I believe, into 11th position. Let's have a look. Yep, I was right. They just put it up there on the screen. So he is now in 11th position. So we're very nearly halfway through the race. So he's come from 20th all the way up to 11th. So he's nearly halfway there. So let's see if I can get this right. It will be Verstappen, Alonso, and Checo Perez podium. I don't think that Hamilton can hold off. He's about right at 9/10 of a second ahead right now, but I don't think he will be able to hold off the Aston Martin much longer. Lance Stroll is still sitting there in 6th, and we're going to watch a replay here. I guess it's again Sergio Perez moving up into the 11th position. So that we just watched that a moment ago. But those Red Bull cars, it's just amazing how they just seem to stick to the track. And we know Sergio Perez, leading up to today's race, through practice and qualifying, just had a horrible time. He spun out, he lost the car quit, all kinds of stuff. In fact, that's why he started from the back of the grid, because during qualifying, he just totally lost the car, or the car lost him. His right wheel locked up long before the corner, and he just kept going straight on and into the mud, literally into the mud, because there'd been a lot of rain in Melbourne. So Lance Stroll now is within DRS of Carlos Sainz, and Carlos Sainz is within DRS of Pierre Gasly. So you know what that is? That's a DRS train. So that's a no-win for anybody. Somebody's got to decide, okay, I'm not going to give up position here. I mean, I'm going to give up position and just let the guy pass me, because it's a no-win situation. So now, just looking at it, Max Verstappen now is back up to nearly 5 seconds ahead of Hamilton, and Alonso now has closed the gap and is right at 2 seconds behind Hamilton. So my gut feel is that Hamilton's tires are leading him a little bit, because he's now slowing considerably down. And let's face it, folks, when I'm talking about slowing down considerably, I'm talking about less than a third or a quarter of a second a lap. Okay, and this is over what did I say it was 3.28 miles. But that is in this race world, that is considerably. So in fact, now he's right at 5 seconds behind Verstappen, and Alonso's catching him. So something is going on with Lewis Hamilton's car. My guess is it's tires, that his car is not reacting well to the tires that he has on it at the moment. I'll take a little break here and I'll just watch the race. I'll turn up the sound a little bit and we'll see how it goes. Right now, let's say, oh no, wait a minute. Hamilton is saying a long way to go on the tires. I don't feel like it will go all the way. So like I just thought, he is fighting tires right now. That's why now he's at 6 seconds behind Verstappen now, and he's just under 2 seconds with Alonso. So he has no confidence in his tires right now, which means that he's going to be in third position in about, where we're at, lap 20. By lap 30, he will be in third position, and then either Carlos Sainz or Gasly and Stroll will be in fourth position. And so at some point, somebody's got to stop and get new tires. And my guess is it's going to be Lewis Hamilton, and that's going to drop him 3-4 places back because he's not that far. It's like, remember what I said, these guys have got to get themselves at least 18 to 20 seconds ahead to be able to get out, to get in, get tires, and get out again. Otherwise, they're going to drop back. So Pierre Gasly, I think, is going to pass Sainz on this one, and Lance Stroll is going to pass Pierre Gasly. So we've got some really tight things going on for that fourth, fifth, and sixth positions. I've got to say, it's really weird sitting up here doing the podcast from Austin, Texas, on the Formula One News Hour at 1 o'clock in the morning. But that's what it is. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. That means it's in England, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and throughout Europe, depending on what time zones, it's probably 8 or 9 o'clock. For most of Europe, it's 7 hours difference, so it's 8 or 9 o'clock. So yeah, it's really interesting. In Australia, it's coming up. It's after the race has been going on now for more than an hour, just because of the red flags and then the yellow flags. It's got to be going past 4:15 in the afternoon in Australia. That's one of the great things, though, about Formula One is you get to experience all these different world time zones. We were supposed to have a race coming up in China. That is not going to happen. So we're actually going to have quite a bit of a break here in April. We won't have any race in the middle. The next race after this one will be towards the end of April. We will, of course, do some Formula One podcast for you. I'm hoping to get some additional interviews. For you folks that didn't watch it, please go watch the last two interviews that I've done, the one with David Coulthard, and because we're here in the United States, please watch the interview with Mario Andretti. Mario Andretti is the greatest race car driver to come out of the United States of America. There's been lots of good ones. There haven't been many great ones. And one great one that people don't hear about really was Alex Zanardi, he was an American, but he did drive Indy cars, and then he was Italian, and he drove Formula One cars, but he had a number of accidents. He lost his legs in a Formula One accident. He nearly lost his life. This guy is just a major competitor. He had a major accident 2 to 3 years ago in a wheelchair race. Can you get that? he was racing. I believe it was in northern Italy, and had and got hit head on. His wheelchair hit head on to a car, and he was in the hospital for I think nearly a year. But just an incredible competitor. But getting back to Mario Andretti, certainly the greatest race car driver ever to come out of the United States of America. Nobody has won the different as he mentioned during the interview. He did the dirt racing. He did NASCAR racing. He did sports car racing. He did the Le Mans 24-hour race. He was Formula One world champion. He was an Indy champion. You just can't say enough about the guy. He's just an incredible talent. And let's face it, he passed it on. His son Michael, who's a Formula One and an IndyCar driver, and then his grandson Marco, who is an IndyCar driver. Marco only does Indy 500 now, but what a talented family. I know, I'm going on, but that's okay. We can go on about the great ones. The great one in my life was Jim Clark. So right now, let's look where we are. We're at lap 29. We've got Verstappen, Hamilton. For some reason, Alonso he's kind of holding. He's stuck at that like 1.5 to 2.25 seconds. But Verstappen's now got 7 seconds. He can stop for a cup of tea and then get back in the race if he wants to. And Stroll, Gasly, and Sainz, they've got a DRS train going. So you get a DRS train going, it's crazy. That's the only bad thing about DRS is it can create a situation where you can have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars that can't get past each other because the very first one's got DRS. So, but let's see where we are with the McLarens. McLaren is currently in 8th and 11th, and our great guy Sergio Perez is now up to 9th. So we've got still 18 laps to go. Max Verstappen has just set another lap record. So with 18 laps to go, remember what I said, that there's a good chance that Sergio Perez will in fact get up there and get onto a podium. It's going to be tough, but that Red Bull car, if he can just keep driving it like he's doing, there's no reason why he can't do it. So let's see how many seconds he is behind. So he's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2. So he is only 9 seconds back from a podium position with 18 laps to go, and he's come from 20th. So absolutely, it's possible the way that he is going that he can still make a podium after starting from 20th position, much like Max Verstappen did last week, or 2 weeks ago rather, in Saudi Arabia, where he started from 15th and came in 2nd. So yeah, so let's see, when we're looking at it, the guy that's gained the most positions is Perez with 11, Gasly with 4. We've got Piastri, he's actually gained 5 positions. He's currently in 11th. So McLaren is having actually a good day. They're currently in 8th and 11th. But they're about to, well, let's see, Perez is right at 3 seconds behind. So probably in 4 laps, he'll catch Norris and put him back into 8th. Hülkenberg for Haas is still doing remarkably well. He's up there in 7th position. But again, the story of the day is Aston Martin. They're in 3rd and 6th. And if somehow that DRS train could get broken, then there's no reason why maybe we don't have a 1-3 Red Bull finish. We have a 2-3 Aston Martin finish? Well, let's see. Right now we've got third, so and now Alonso is starting to break down that lead that that Hamilton had on him. Hamilton now is 8.5 seconds behind Verstappen, and we have Alonso now at 1.5 seconds. So those tires are really going away on Hamilton, and there's not a lot he can do. He's going to have, let's see, we got 18, no, we've got 16 laps to go. Hamilton is going to have to pit and get a tire change. So is everybody else, but if Alonso can hold on to his tires for a few more laps, he could maybe get a big enough gap between himself and Hamilton that he could hang on and get second place, which would give either Perez, Gasly, Sainz, or Lance Stroll up into that third and fourth place. So, well, let's see. It's not a lot is happening right now. There's we've got most everybody holding positions. And let's see, Hamilton's coming on the radio. Let's see what he's got to say. Well, they didn't show what he had to say. I guess I could fork out the bucks. You know, the Sky won and it's passed on to ESPN. They've got this really neat feature where you can actually click on the car that you want to follow. The problem for me doing that and doing a podcast at the same time is I'm old and I'm not that good with technology. I own a data center and I've got a lot of technology stuff going on in my life. But when it comes to like this, I call simple technology, you know, your iPhone, your different kind of phones. Let's see who's taking over. Sergio Perez has just taken over the fastest lap from Max Verstappen. I don't think that's going to make the team very happy, but it means that he is gaining rapidly. He's now in 9th position. He's gaining rapidly on Lando Norris. So just crazy. And Alonso now is dropping the gap to a little over 1 second. So Alonso is going to have DRS, I'm thinking here, and let's see, they're doing a speed comparison right now. So Alonso is going to have DRS here very quickly. And Max Verstappen now is dropped now to 9 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Remember what I said at the beginning of the race? There's just no way that the Mercedes were going to be able to hold off the Red Bull cars. They are doing a good job, better than last week and the last race and the race before, of moving themselves up a little bit. But still, there's zero competition for the Red Bull cars. Let's see, Perez now is under 2 seconds behind Lando Norris, so it's going to be probably within 2 laps. If they were to stop again, so they're talking about tire strategy here between Lewis Hamilton and his team. And they're trying to figure out who's going to stop when. But it's not going to make any difference at this point. Unless Max Verstappen has a brain fart and just loses it, or an axle or a wheel flies off, he's going to win. Alonso is going to be on podium. And then either it's going to be Sainz, Gasly, Stroll, or Perez. That's going to be that third person on the podium, because I do not think that Lewis Hamilton can hold this second position. But we'll see. I could be wrong. And they're just showing a graphic up, not really a graphic, but the time. Sergio Perez is gaining about 0.3 of a second on Lando Norris per lap. So that would mean essentially in 4 laps, he's going to be in 8th position. Maybe less, because remember, he only has to get under 1 second to enable DRS. And once he's got that DRS, then he'll be able to make up that last, say, second very fast. So it's not when it's, no, it's not when, it's if. No, it's not if, it's when Sergio Perez passes Lando Norris. And we're at lap 35, so I'm going to say the next 2 to 3 laps, then we're going to see Sergio Perez go on by Lando Norris. What's interesting though is he does seem to have slowed down just a little bit, even though he has the fastest lap right now. The last 3 to 4 laps, he does not seem to have had the pace that he's had going forward. Now, some of that could be because of remember I was talking about the DRS zone, so now I'm just looking, we've got Norris, Hulkenberg, Stroll, we've got 4 or 5 on these in this DRS train, and it's very, very hard to close that gap because they can all open up the DRS and gain that speed, you know, down the straightaways that they want, but nobody can pass each other because it essentially cancels out every advantage that all the different cars have. So unless you've got a car that can really has an advantage through a corner, say, like last year, the Ferraris really had an advantage through the corners and they could make up that speed. They didn't really need to worry about catching on DRS. They could just, you know, wait for them to go through the corners and pick it up then. But they're showing Sergio Perez, and he is indeed closing on the McLaren of Lando Norris. And they're also showing the crowd, and folks, just to show you how popular this sport is, over the 3-day weekend, right, that is the Formula One in Melbourne, they have had 480,000 spectators. Think about that. This is bigger than soccer. This might be the biggest sport, spectator sport there is. There are about 110 to 112 million people around the world watching this race right now. How many others will watch it during the day? Who knows? But right now, while I'm podcasting, talking to you about this race, there is about 110 to 112 million watching along with me. It's just crazy to think how big this sport has become over the years. And we're now starting to see some of the back-end cars coming out for their final tire stops. We have 20 laps left in the race. Max Verstappen just set the fastest lap. Most of them, let's see, everybody is on hard tires except De Vries, who is on medium. And no sooner had Max set the fastest lap than Lewis Hamilton. And he's complaining about how quick the guys behind him are. And he should be complaining because they're catching him up. But that's interesting because he's losing so much time. He's now right at 10 seconds behind Max Verstappen. He's got the fastest lap. So I just don't know what's going on. Alonso is getting to be within that 1 second mark. So he will, within the next 2 laps, Alonso is going to have DRS. And let's see, we got Gasly with DRS, we've got Stroll with DRS, we've got Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg's 2 seconds behind, so he's kind of dropped off. So we've got Stroll and Gasly with DRS. So we've got a mini DRS train going right there. And Sergio Perez now has DRS on Lando Norris. So that's just a matter of time. And Max Verstappen just heard that Lewis Hamilton got the fastest lap. So what did he do? Chalked up the fastest lap. He's just cruising. He's just out for a Sunday drive, literally. He can do whatever he wants with that car at any time. That's just amazing. And the commentators are just talking about one of the problems, one of the tricky zones we're getting into now is tires. So they've got approximately 35 laps. Now, they're all on hard tires, so they should be able to make it to the end. But what is the grip capability of the tires? And as we're talking about tyres, and although he's 10 seconds behind, Hamilton has just set the fastest lap. And so he's moved back a little bit. He's moved up to 1.6 seconds on Alonso. But remember, to do that, he is really taking risks, because when you're really pushing the car and pushing your tyres that badly, in 10 and 12 laps from now, he's really going to feel it. So obviously, there's very few drivers out there today with the experience of Lewis Hamilton. So he obviously feels like, and Max Verstappen just took the fastest lap back again. So this is crazy. But anyway, back to Lewis Hamilton. He's probably one of the better drivers of being able to judge, you know, his tire wear and the use of the tires and conserving the tires and stuff. But you've got to think, when they push like that, and this goes for Max Verstappen as well, even though he's 10 seconds out in front, when they push like that, they are scrubbing a lot of the tire that they might need for those last 2 or 3 laps. And to give you an idea, Max Verstappen just set the fastest lap at 1:21 point something something. Remember, when he qualified for pole position, he qualified at 1:16 something. Remember what I said, that there's a big difference between the race car setup for the race and the race car setup for qualifying. And that's because, you know, for the race, they've got to have all the fuel, they've got to have all this stuff, and then they've got to conserve their tires, they've got to do all this stuff. And during qualifying, you know, DRS is wide open, they can use it whenever they want. So, and he's just set the fastest lap again. That is Max Verstappen. And he just dropped it to 1:20.98. So he obviously feels that his tires are going to last him to the end. He's not going to have to come in. We've got 50, we got 18. What do we got? We got 16 laps to go, and he's got a lot of confidence in both his car and his tires. And we're watching here Sergio Perez closing in on Lando Norris for this 8th position, and he does have DRS. He's about a half second behind. So as they come down here to the next straightaway, then there's no reason why Sergio Perez should not move up from the 9th position to 8th position. Let's see if Lando Norris is able to hold him off. They've just gone through a couple of turns here. Now they hit the long straightaway. So let's see if Sergio Perez's Red Bull has got enough to take him. And the answer is no. So that's really interesting. So that McLaren has a lot of speed, and Sergio Perez just set the fastest lap. So that is just crazy. It's crazy that he was not able to take him on that. But remember, on this track, we have 4 DRS zones. If you remember, I made a mistake in the beginning of the race. I said there was 2. They, in fact, have 4 DRS zones. So it's just a matter of time, folks, before Sergio Perez moves into that 8th position. But as far along now as we are, we got 15 laps to go. It's going to be very difficult now for Perez to make it to a podium position. Alonso, in fact, Perez now has just taken the 8th position away from Lando Norris. Like I said, it was just a matter of time. Let's see. You know, sometimes the car in front of you is so hard to pass, it holds you up, because you're talking about needing fractions of a second to make a decision and do something is a fraction of a second. And it's also a fraction of a second that can lead to disaster. So that they're always weighing the odds. It's weighing the odds game. So I think Perez just passed again and moved up into 7th, did he? No, he is, but he's only he's a little over a second behind Hulkenberg, so it's only going to be a matter of a lap or 2. So he's right now, he's only about 4.5 seconds behind Carlos Sainz in 4th. So let's see. Hamilton is holding off Alonso, but is falling way behind on Max Verstappen. I mean, this, like I said earlier, this is not not if Verstappen wins, will he win? It's when he wins. So yeah, it's really in some ways kind of disappointing. And let's see Verstappen. No, Perez now just took Hülkenberg, so now he's up in 7th. He's got a good 2 or 3 seconds between him and Stroll. So let's see how that goes. But that Red Bull car he has is on, as is the Red Bull that's in 1st position. So he started 20th. They're saying he started 14th on the TV, because on the restart he started from 14th. But in the beginning of the race he started from dead last, and now he is up to 7th position, and he has the fastest lap. So a little bit of probably good news for the Haas team here. Magnussen has made his way up to 10th position, and Hülkenberg is holding on to 8th position. So if Magnussen can gain, no, he's not going to be able to, though. He's 10 seconds back from Piastri. So, but anyway, Hülkenberg's going to get the Haas team some points here today, so they're showing better. Ferrari is 4th and last. The McLaren, they've got to be in. McLaren has got to be happy with today. Right now, they're at 9th and 11th, and you know, after the first 2 disastrous races of the season, I would say that they're happy with that. If they could get Piastri to get past Ocon, which he's not going to do. He's 11 seconds behind with what, 11 laps to go. So there's no way he's going to do that. But still, Lando Norris is going to score some points today for them. And now Alonso has just set the fastest lap, and now he is within striking distance of Lewis Hamilton. So this is going to be interesting here going in with 11 laps to go. We're going to see if because now Hamilton's 12 seconds behind Verstappen. So this is really interesting. These guys are on the same age tires, so they all, during that red flag early in the race, they all changed from medium tires to hard tires. So now we're starting to see some of the designs of the cars coming into play, and it looks like Verstappen, his car and his driving is able to do a much better job of conserving tire wear than Hamilton. And it looks like Alonso now, his tires are holding up better for him, and so he's gaining on Hamilton again. And in fact, it could be just a couple of laps when we could see Alonso overtake and go into 2nd place. Oh, and Max Verstappen actually just ran off the track. Let's see what kind of impact it had on his timing. Let's see where how many. So that's got to have knocked a couple of seconds off his lead from Max Verstappen. Let's see. Perez just set the fastest lap again. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so yeah, that cost him about 2 seconds running off the track there, and he actually ran into the grass. So I'm surprised it only cost him 2 seconds. And he just got onto his team and said that his right front wheel was locking up going into the corner or something. So anyway, let's see. He's still ahead. He's still comfortably 8 seconds ahead. He was a little over 10. So it's not a big deal. But as we get into the later laps, we've only got 10 laps to go now. Tires are going to be a big play in the end point of this race. Okay, with about 6-7 laps to go, we're just witnessing Lando Norris taking away the 8th position from Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas. A very nice battle there, great driving by Lando Norris, and everybody in the Haas team is celebrating that one. I'm sorry, the Haas team. Everybody in the Haas team is all upset. Everybody in the McLaren team is upset. So McLaren now has positions 8 and 11. Sergio Perez has not made any real gains on Lance Stroll, and Hamilton continues to fall back from Max Verstappen, even though Max had that little mishap a couple of laps ago, and Alonso is not making any. He's got within about 1.1, 1.2 seconds of Hamilton, but has just not been able to get close enough to get that DRS zone advantage that he needed. So I'm going to guess now we got 5 laps to go. We got Verstappen, and like I said, unless he crashes into the wall or something, he's going to miss it. He's going to be first. Hamilton's going to be number 2, and let's face it, that's a great finish for Mercedes today, even though it looks like George Russell's car dropped a valve. And then it's going to be Alonso in 3rd position. So, for Aston Martin, yet another great day. They're going to end up 3rd and probably 6th. And so that'll be the 3rd podium in a row for them this year. Of course, it's going to be the 3rd. It's going to be the 3rd win of the year for Verstappen. And we just had a momentary. Hülkenberg has lost. Is it Hülkenberg? No, it's Magnussen. Magnussen has just lost his right rear tire. In fact, his right rear. So we're gonna have a virtual safety car here. His right rear tire just left his car. That's just amazing. That's crazy. I don't know if he did something that caused that, but. They're saying that he did too. On turn 3, he brushed the wall, and that caused his tire to separate from his car. So the safety car is in fact going to come out. So this race is in essence over. It is going to end on a safety car. We've got 4 laps to go. We're going to get the tire off the track. We're going to get this car off the track. So this is essentially it. This race will end under a safety car. That will be Verstappen, Hamilton, Alonso, Sainz, and Gasly are going to be a top 5. A tremendous drive by Gasly, and then at the bottom end, you're going to have Russell, Albon, and Leclerc that did not finish. And then you're going to have now Magnussen that did not finish. So you're going to have De Vries, Sargent, Bottas. I have no idea what has happened to Valtteri Bottas and that Alfa Romeo car this year. You can be sure I'm not going to be wearing this Alfa Romeo shirt at the next race, which is going to be 2 or 3 weeks, by the way, because as we mentioned earlier, the Chinese Grand Prix got cancelled. But now they're showing the replay for the Haas, so let's see exactly what happened. Oh yeah, he just hit the wall, knocked the tire clean off the car. That was driver error, folks. Driver error. The driver hit the wall. So the thing is, these cars, you probably experienced it when you've been driving down the street or the freeway. You turn the steering wheel, and you want the car to go right, but it still feels like it's going left, and then you kind of move more, and you're worried about losing the lane position. The same thing goes in Formula 1 and all motor racing. They turn the wheel, and sometimes the car doesn't go where they want, and wind forces kind of push it the way that they thought it was going to go. But in this case, he just came out of a turn, and he just kept drifting off to the right, and it took out his right tire. Oh no, this is very interesting. Very interesting. 3 laps to go. They've red flagged the race. This is crazy. So what this will do is this will set up like a, how would you say, it'll set up a sprint to the finish. So all kinds of stuff can happen from why they red flagged the race for this. They've got a tire and some little pieces of debris on the track. The car's not on the track. This is very, very, very interesting. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing ends. We literally have 2 laps to go. So we'll have one warm-up lap that will be with the safety car, and then we'll have a go lap. And here's the other thing, the cars will not be able to change tires, they won't be able to do anything to them during this stop. So yeah, this is really, really interesting, guys. And why they decided to do that, I don't know. I'm going to kind of turn up the volume here a little bit and see if I can figure it out. Okay, now we're hearing that they're going to be allowed to change their tires. And of course, everybody will go to the soft compound tires because in a sprint situation, during qualifying as an example, everybody wants to qualify on a soft tire because they get much better grip. So, and if you remember from 2 years ago, what happened was that Max Verstappen won that championship because he went to the soft compound tire when Lewis Hamilton elected just to stay out. And it cost Lewis Hamilton his 8th World Championship. So it was great strategy on the part of Red Bull. Okay, so with 2 laps to go, we've had quite an interval here, but with 2 laps to go, the cars now are coming back out onto the track. They are being led by a safety car, so what's going to happen here, they essentially have a formation lap, kind of like they do in the beginning of the race. They're going to go all the way around the track for one time, and then there will be 2 laps of racing. So the restart is going to be vitally important. We'll probably see some changing of positions here. Max Verstappen has got to get off to a better start than he has the last 2 starts of this race. At the beginning of the race, on pole position, he ended up 3rd after the first corner, and the second restart, he ended up 2nd after the first corner. So this race and this particular time, if he wants to win this race, he's going to have to get off to a really, really good start. So we're going to see here really a really good battle between Max Verstappen and Hamilton. You know, if they had 3-4 laps to go, you just wouldn't worry about it because Verstappen would be able to get past Hamilton within that amount of time. But with 2 laps to go, if Lewis Hamilton gets off to a better start, or even Fernando Alonso, then all of a sudden Max Verstappen, instead of winning this race, which looked like it was going to happen just 10 minutes ago, might end up 3rd. It would still give him the lead in the championship, but that is not what he wants. He has not won the Australian Grand Prix, and he has started it right. He took pole position. He's raced a good race, comfortable race, but the 2 restarts he's had have been very disappointing. So he has got to be on his best restart performance here going in to what are the last 2 laps of this race. And we might add that I believe just about everybody is on the soft compound tire because they are the best tires for with the most grip, and a lot of drivers, most teams use them for qualifying. Nobody that I was listening to let me just turn the TV down here a bit so you can hear me better. Nobody appeared to have any new soft tires, but you know, if they've been used for 3-4 laps or 10 laps in qualifying, they're still going to be in pretty good shape. So from what I'm listening, everybody will be restarting on soft compound tires. So it's just, it's going to be, this is literally, you know, we talk about who wins a race, the team or the driver or the engineer or whoever. In this case right here, with all these cars in great shape and everything, it's going to be the driver that is going to win this race. So they are now coming up, they're all pulling up into their positions not as they were at the beginning of the race, but as they were as the red flag came out. And of course, Max Verstappen has pole position. So we are going to see here in just a few seconds as the last car from the formation lap pulls up into position. And we're now going to get the red lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they are off. And Max Verstappen has got off to a much better start. He has really, really done what he is supposed to do. He's already, and we've got somebody that has just gone way, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, gone off the track and 1 into the thing, and now we've got a yellow flag. So this race is going to end, after all of this race is going to end in a yellow flag condition, and it's going to be Verstappen, Hamilton, and Carlos Sainz in that order. So one of those that went off had to have been Alonso. He is all the way down 11th. We've got the Alpine of, let's see, we got both the Alpine cars lined up against the fence. They've reflagged they've red flagged the race again. This is crazy. This is great. We've got like maybe 4 or 5 cars out of the race again. But Max Verstappen did an incredible job there of making sure that he got way out front. We got 1, 2, let's see if I can count them. 1, 2, we got two cars off in the gravel. We got 2 cars, we got 4 cars that lost it right here. So we're looking at the Aston Martin right now of, who is it? I can't tell who it is. But anyway, so we've got Logan Sargent, we've got a Williams car out. Let's see, they're gonna give me a replay here on the restart, so let's see. Verstappen gets way out in front almost immediately. Let's see what happens to Alonso. He's in 3rd place. Oh, we got 2. Oh, he gets hit in the rear wheel, spun around, and he's up against the wall. But he manages to keep going. So somebody ran into Alonso. Both the Alpine cars, they essentially took each other out. Sergio Perez, he got sideways and got taken out. Sergio Perez ended up in the gravel and just kept going straight on. This is just the craziest thing you've ever... You think these guys had just learned to drive yesterday, and there is debris all over the place. So we are going to be taking probably a, I don't know, 10, 15 minute break.
Like this, and you know, it's just. But yeah, so that's at the moment. Yeah, I think their hopes were...
All right, so after, I don't know, it's been probably 15, 20 minutes delay, what the FIA stewards have decided is that they will restart the race for 1 lap. And that restart will be in the formation that the drivers were before the rather interesting restart on lap 57. So lap 57 in essence didn't happen. All those cars that got knocked out, and the restart order will be Verstappen, Hamilton, and Alonso in that order, and so they are your podium finishers. So Max Verstappen wins the Australian Grand Prix, followed by Lewis Hamilton in 2nd place, and Fernando Alonso in 3rd, and then the rest of the field falling in behind. There was a lot of unhappy people with the way the stewards decided, but because they did not complete a sector in the lap on the restart, they're saying that they have to go back to the other restart. But it's really strange because they said, well, if they didn't complete a sector, then wait a minute, then that means lap 57 is still there, but the stewards are saying, no, we've lost lap 57, we're on lap 58, and there will be, so this race is in essence ending under a yellow car, so as they go through the motions here, the drivers are essentially, because the cars have to finish under their own power, then the race is essentially over. So again, your winners are Max Verstappen with Lewis Hamilton in second place and Fernando Alonso in third. A big shout out to our sponsors, and particularly our sponsor for this section of the Formula One Grand Prix, which is CloudHub. CloudHub, folks, if you want a better alternative for a social media site other than Facebook or Truth Social from Trump or anywhere like that, please go to cloudhub.com. Okay, so anyway, we are finishing up with Max Verstappen in first, Lewis Hamilton in second, and Fernando Alonso in third. And so that is where this very interesting race has ended. We want to thank our sponsors for today, and particularly for this section, CloudHub. CloudHub, folks, if you need an alternative to the social media sites that everybody is familiar with, such as Facebook and stuff like that, then you need to think about CloudHub, because CloudHub is a conservative site that does not censor anybody, conservative or otherwise, and has lots of other great features. So please visit CloudHub at cloudhub.com. And we would be very amiss if we didn't thank our great technical director and producer, Andre Kuhn, for all of the great work that he does every week in bringing this show to us. It has been a really long evening. It is about 2:30 in the morning here in Austin, Texas. And we look forward to seeing you at the next race, but also we will be putting out, of course, our Formula One podcast next week, so you can look forward to some interesting articles and interesting talks on the history of Formula One and, of course, in particular, the drivers. So until next week, this is your host, Jonathan Steele, saying thank you very much for joining us on the Formula One News Hour, and we will see you next week. Have a great evening, folks. Or should I say, have a great morning. No, I should say, have a great day. I'm about to go to bed, kind of tired. I'll see you next week.